All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. This is Stephanie Pepper with eManage One. Happy New Year, everybody. We're going to get started and show you guys kind of what to expect in the next update. This will be our first quarter of 2021 update. As always, administrators, please download your default grid layouts from the File menu in eManage. So jump right into it, some enhancements. As you guys know, we've been working really hard on the UI and just trying to improve every aspect of eManage and the user experience. And so the last update, we put out an update to the project window, and we moved the modules in the history to the left side. We're doing the same thing and the actions into a top toolbar. So we're doing the same thing with companies and contacts. So when you open up a company record here, you'll see the new project ribbon up top, and the modules history will be over to the left. So just improving the user interface, like I said, and we're just gonna keep making those changes to improve how you guys are using the software. So we did the same thing to the contact record as well. So again, just the actions menu will be at the top toolbar now, and the modules history over on the left. So that'll match the project ribbon and keep that consistency going. Some other enhancements, a big one here, we are putting some new tab controls in for projects, companies, and contacts. So before, you guys were probably, you're used to when you open up a project and then you open up multiple modules or history, you are seeing them in little tiles, and it kind of clogged up the space and definitely wasn't as user-friendly as we hoped it would be. So now this new tab control, much cleaner look, easier to use, and in the next slide we'll show you guys how you can pull out the windows to stack them vertically or horizontally, and you can actually drag them completely out of eManage. So that new tab control that I'm speaking to is at the top here. You can see a preview of this. We've got 3 different windows open in this one project, and it opens up in tabs instead of those tiles. So definitely takes up less space, and it's easier to look at. So here's a little preview of it. You can grab the window, and you can see the tool in the middle. You can drag it to the left or the right to stack them vertically, or you can grab them and drag them to the top or the bottom. So using that tool right there in the middle, when you start to drag the windows out, drag it to the bottom and it stacks them horizontally. And then, like I mentioned, you can drag them out completely. So don't drag it into the tool, and it'll just be on its own window, and you can drag that over to your other screen or enlarge it. Really cool feature, much easier to use. We're really excited about this one. So you can actually drag it. If you wanted to put it back into the window, you can drag it back into the middle section of that tool that comes up in the middle, and it'll just put it back into the normal spot it belongs in eManage. So we're really excited about that feature there. Much easier to use. Like I said, a much cleaner look. Right. So some more enhancements here. Big one, we organized the menu items on the Today tab into the flow of business. So you can see over here on the left side, it's a lot easier to look at. It's divided up into, the flow of business. So business development, opportunity management, order management, and then service and administration. We've also renamed a couple of these. So a couple of changes there just to make it easier to understand what these different grids are supposed to be showing. We also moved the Today panel all the way to the left side. So before, you guys are used to having this Today panel, your prospecting tool, all on the right side of eManage. Not sure why we didn't do this sooner. Your eyes automatically get drawn to the left side of the screen. So we just moved that whole right panel over to the left side of your screen, right underneath the main tool menu. I think this looks a lot better, makes a lot more sense. And this is also kind of getting us ready for, prepping us for the new interface that we're going to be coming out with in the future. The menus and stuff will be on the left side. So just getting everybody ready for that makes a lot more sense. I will say, if you have a saved toolbar layout, when you log in eManage, you may need to select your options to reset the toolbar layout. If you're having any issues there, please feel free to call into support. We want you guys to be getting the latest and greatest and looking at everything the same way that we're looking at it. You know, saved toolbars are awesome, and that's so cool that you can modify them and move them to how you want. But if you want to ensure that you're looking at the latest and greatest, please just call into support and let us know you want to see the layout that everybody else has seen in this latest update. We also organized some different menu items. So you can see here in the analysis menu, we did expose some of those items that were in a sub menu. We just put them all into one big analysis menu so that you can get to it a little bit quicker, see all of your options, and use this more if you're not using this. So really cool, just exposing things we want you guys to know that are there, just making it easier, more user-friendly. We also moved the options menu. So there was an options menu at the top toolbar, and that's been moved over into the file menu, just consolidating some items. There's a lot of, there's a lot of menus and toolbars in eManage. So if we can make those a little bit more user-friendly and consolidate them a bit, it's going to be a nice little impact to the user interface there. A couple of minor changes to the tools menu. We've named some of them a little bit differently. Again, just consolidating, naming them different so that you know what you're looking at, a little bit easier to use. Some additional enhancements here. We added your bid information to the current opportunities grid. If you're not using the bid feature in eManage, we highly suggest doing so. I think that I'm working up an idea to get us back, get us kick-started back into webinars, doing some more extended training for your users. And this is one topic that I probably will be touching on. You can see here in the current opportunities grid, you can see the bid amount, bid due date, when it was submitted. So to be able to see that all in your current opportunities grid is really helpful when it comes to analyzing that part of the business. We also, this is a huge one. I should have had a whole slide for this because it's just such a big change, big enhancement. We added an order status grid to the Today panel. So when you hit the Today tab on now the left side of the screen, you're going to see a grid called Order Status. And this is the same thing that we released on a previous update. So what you guys saw on a previous update in the project information window, you could see that order status tab and kind of see all the order details, acknowledgement information, acknowledged ship dates, all of that. If you're not using that, make sure you take a peek at that. But what we've done is same concept, but now we put it all in one centralized location. So you can go today, order status, and see all of the orders out there that have not yet been completed. Once you complete them, they'll fall off this grid once you complete the order. But you can definitely see at a bird's eye view all the orders out there and all the details that go along with the order. So really powerful reporting tool there. We didn't have a place where you could just go in and look at all this order information in one centralized location before, and now we do. So really excited about that one. New format on the survey report. So you can see here we've just compacted it a little bit so it's not using so much paper. So now when you print a survey, it's going to be a little bit more compact, a little bit easier to read, and like I said, using less paper. So great report there. If you're using a custom survey report, you'll want to make sure that you start from the new base report and customize that one going forward. We also made some pretty cool color scheme changes. So you can see on this right side over here, if you're not using a different color, I think the default is the eManage 1 color scheme. I believe you can get to the color scheme from the file menu. And this one's called Modern. This is the one I use a lot. But what we did was we added in a alternating colors on the lines so that it's a lot easier to read. When you have that much data in a grid, especially in the BOM, as you can see here, but all the grids will now alternate in colors for the modern color scheme. And then this one here is the new, a new color scheme called Blue Ocean. So you guys know where that one came from, our good friends in Hawaii. But this one here is called Blue Ocean, and again, it's close to the modern, a little brighter, very modern looking, but again, the color alternating color changes on the lines, really helpful to read the data a little bit easier there. More enhancements, acknowledgement window changes. So we actually enlarged slightly the vendor acknowledgements tile when you open up the acknowledgements costing module. So here you can see the vendor acknowledgements. It's just slightly larger coming into the vendor invoices side a little bit, but you didn't need that much room on that side, just to see a little bit more information after you've added an acknowledgement. We've also slightly enlarged the actual add acknowledgement window. So when you hit add acknowledgement, this window is slightly larger so that you can see, again, a little bit more information when adding those acknowledgements. We also adjusted the company record field. So when you're adding a new company, I was finding that in training new clients, this one was always kind of tricky, but I think that it's going to be really nice for my existing clients as well. It just makes more sense when you guys know that the zip code field automatically enters in the city, the state, and your tax rate. And so a lot of times people were trying to put the city, state in first and the zip code. All you have to do is put in the zip code and it auto-populates that information. So why not have that zip code field first? So if you use your tab keys and you're entering, you just hit tab after you enter the address and whatnot, it'll just go directly into the zip code field. So that's the only field you have to enter to get that other information auto-populated. So much easier to use. We also modified the way that the jobs installing report from the today panel. Again, so today on the left side now, when you hit that today and then go to jobs installing, it's going to be based off of orders now versus projects. Before it was putting in based off of projects, now it's per order, which is really nice when you schedule multiple orders, multiple installation items per day. It's going to put it into this grid per order. So you can hit the field chooser, and you'll even see a column called order name now. So it's very clear what order is on the schedule, what order for each job on the schedule, what that belongs to. You can see, start date, end date. So without having to go into the calendar, you can just click this grid. And if you're not, just a reminder, grid favorites, if you're not using this feature, this came out in the last update, definitely should be. Exposing the grid favorites tool is very easy. You just want to go down to your grid functions in the bottom right corner. If you don't see grid functions, you just hit that little red button, it'll turn green, you'll see grid functions, and tell it to always show this toolbar. Because what it'll do is the next time you log out and you log back in, it'll show you a little grid favorites panel. And it makes it really easy just to click on these different grids to better analyze your business and what you're looking at. So you can see jobs installing next week, jobs installing this week, and create different grid layouts, to just, again, to better analyze that part of the business. Ooh, a lot of issues resolved, as we always are working on resolving issues and those bugs. That's still one of our top priorities. We're still resolving issues as quickly as we possibly can. So I'll go through these. As far as for projects, project notes are not, when you add a project note, they're no longer adding automatically as customer visible. That's in relation to the customer portal, not your user portal, what you're logging into, but customer portal. We did a little post on our LinkedIn page. If you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. But we will do a webinar on the customer portal when it's ready to go, which it is ready to go, but if you don't have your customer portal, reach out to support to get your customer portal. But we will do an extensive webinar on that to get you guys all up to speed on how that whole part works. But before the notes were added, when they were being added, they were automatically being marked as customer visible, which we obviously do not want to do. I want you to be in full control of what the customer is seeing, what they're not seeing. So it'll automatically add by default as not customer visible. Using the project spec button no longer adds to multiple projects. That was an issue when you had multiple projects open and you were specifying something right within eManage using the project spec button. It was adding it to the project kind of in the background. So that's no longer an issue. We also resolved the error that was taking place on the new project form. Again, something that came out on the last update. I believe it's in your main tool menu, new project. There's a quick way to add a project using that new project form. Before, it looked like the contact wasn't required, but yet you couldn't actually leave the contact off. So now you don't have to have a contact when using that new project form. And you can just add the contact in the project information screen when you're ready. As far as reporting goes, the orders bookings analysis report, there was subcontractor labor being added into the actual PO cost. So we want to make sure that we're keeping those separate, not double costing anything. So that's been removed from the actual PO cost. We've also added the salesperson as a field, an available field in the booked orders needing scheduling grid. So in your install calendar, that bottom portion of the screen, salesperson wasn't an active field to use, so we added that in. We resolved an error when running aging invoicing report for service agreements as well. As far as web services go, a couple of changes there, issues resolved. For Hayworth, we added new required fields for order submissions. So when you're submitting an order for Hayworth through batch entry, the dealer appointment contact and delivery site contacts are both required fields now. We also fixed the install at and ship to issue when using the company OFDA defaults on a company record when submitting a quote. If you had those defaults set, it wasn't reading it correctly. So now the install at and the ship to will automatically be on there when submitting a quote for pricing. If you're not using that, definitely take a peek, open up a company record. There's a little button in there if you are a web service integrated with a web service manufacturer. There's a default OFDA default button in a company record that you can set up those defaults so you don't have to add them in every single time. We also made it available to go directly to the links website from the pricing notification that pops up in the lower right corner. So whenever you get the notification, if you needed to go directly to links, you could just click in there and go directly to links. Lots of Technion updates. We mostly with 2020. Again, another area of the program that I'd like to do a webinar on. Really going to kick up the webinars this year is what my goal. But several 2020 updates. There should be no issues using the Technion order export in eManage. So if you're not using that, we highly encourage you to be using that. Keep everything in eManage. It's your one business system. You really should be doing it inside of eManage. The Technion SIF export tagging issue was addressed, and Lastly, if you're not a Technion dealer, then in your batch entry, batch window, Technion order services just won't show up if you're not a Technion dealer. So lots of Technion issues resolved there. And that was a lot, I know, but that's what I have for you guys today. Last thing I want to update everybody on, if I've been getting quite a few emails about project spec, when we're releasing, when we're going to be integrated with them. We have an advanced copy, so we are in the process of just making sure that integration is still functional. So we're just in a little bit of a testing phase. We worked as quickly as we possibly could. There were some things that we were waiting on project spec for, but I think we have what we need now, and we're just making sure, like I said, that the integration is still functional. Also, a couple of other little updates, getting lots of questions about the web portal and time entry and things like that. We will be doing a webinar, hopefully, in the near future on the portal. There are some changes and updates that need to be made to make it fully functional and more user-friendly. So that's definitely still on our roadmap and definitely on one of our top priority lists. So we will be, like I said, having a webinar on that so that you guys can see all the functionality in the web portal. Again, with the customer portal, if you're interested in getting your customer portal, definitely reach out to support. But like I said, I will be holding a webinar on that as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that people might be curious about as far as updates on our end. Like I said, we're working as hard as we can to resolve all those bugs in the system. That's definitely one of our top priorities still. We have had lots of questions about cloud and if we, when we might be offering cloud services. Like everybody to know, we are already offering cloud. We have a few new clients already on the cloud, and it's going really well. So we host their database. You don't have to have a server. Once I have a little bit more information, maybe we'll release something to our existing customers if anybody's interested on converting to the cloud based software. It's the same platform. When you log in, it looks exactly the same. There's no difference there. It's just a matter of where it's hosted. The big thing that's holding us up is the QuickBooks Online integration. Some of you have been asking about that. We are still, that is still on our list, and we are looking at integrating with QuickBooks Online, which will obviously make the cloud service a lot more tasty looking. I can think of the right word for that, but definitely looking at QuickBooks Online integration. We've already have some of it in the works, but we wanted to get this update out to you guys as soon as possible. So as soon as we get this update out, we'll start working towards some of those other things that we've been talking about doing. And this year we're expecting to do a lot. So we're excited. As always, last but not least, inventory. Inventory is also at the top of our list. And it's in fact the top of our list after this update. We had a couple of items that we needed to kind of close up as far as 2020 went and the fourth quarter. But once we release this update, like I said, we're going to be moving as fast as we can to get all of these things out that we've been wanting to get out for some time, including inventory. So that'll be really soon, and we'll host a webinar on that when it's ready. To wrap up, like I said, we're always accepting comments, suggestions, any feedback that you guys have. Please reach out to us. Always happy to hear from you guys, especially if it's not an issue, it's just positive message. Please, email me anytime, Stephanie@emanage1.com, or if you have any issues that you need resolved, any bugs, make sure you're calling in to support, and you can reach them at the normal number or email in at support@emanage1.com. we are very excited for this year and looking forward to getting this update out to you by the end of the month. We're hoping to roll it out over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, very excited and looking forward to 2021 and what we have in the works for you guys. So appreciate everyone joining in today. Like I said, reach out to me if you have any comments, questions, suggestions. Otherwise, have a great day.